A tunnel cuts through a sheer cliff face, with sharp bends where one misstep could send you plummeting into what seems like a bottomless abyss. What's most fascinating is that this road wasn't built using modern technology. It was carved out by the hands of local villagers over the course of 5 long years. To find out which road I'm talking about, let's dive into this video. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you won't miss out on any more exciting videos. The road I'm referring to leads to Guoliang Village, located between Shanxi and Henan provinces in China, nestled deep within the Taihang mountain range. Unlike most villages that lie on plains or in valleys, Guoliang is perched on a vertical cliff. With such a location, the village seemed to be completely cut off from the outside world. Stone walls protected the village, and treacherous paths appeared to keep villagers confined in their isolated life for centuries. Today, Guoliang Village has 83 households with 329 people, most of whom carry the surname Shen. This family line once held government positions in Nanjing during the late Yuan dynasty. But when the Ming dynasty rose to power, Emperor Zhu Yuanzhang exiled them to Qinghai. Along the way through Shanxi, some members escaped and sought refuge in the Taihang Mountains. A small branch of the family settled in Guoliang, surviving through the generations and adhering to their ancestral teachings despite the harsh conditions. Since its establishment in the 15th century, the village has endured generations of life in this unforgiving environment. Nearly cut off from the outside world, Guoliang's residents built a closed-off, self-sufficient community. To survive, they relied on small-scale farming and animal husbandry, cultivating the limited land scattered across the rugged mountain terrain, telling a tale of endurance and adaptability to nature. For centuries, the only way out of the village was a narrow path made up of 720 stone steps carved into the cliff. These steps were unlike any roads seen in other regions. The path wound along a sheer cliff where a single misstep could send someone falling into an endless chasm below. Whenever villagers needed to leave Guoliang, they had to face these hidden dangers. Particularly during the rainy season, the stone steps became as slippery as hidden traps, while fierce winds gusted through the cliffs, making it hard for travelers to keep their balance. Traveling this path was already a daunting challenge, let alone transporting goods up and down. Daily necessities like food, supplies, and even bulky items such as beds, wardrobes, and machinery had to be carried by hand, step by step, up these perilous stone stairs. For outsiders, just looking at the 720 steps might be enough to deter them. But for Guoliang villagers, this path had become an inseparable part of daily life, a habit they had to accept if they wanted to survive in this remote area. It was a trade-off with harsh nature to sustain life across generations. The people of Guoliang had become accustomed to their isolated life on the cliff. However, as the world outside kept advancing, the village began to see a desire for change. Particularly among the younger generation, there was an increasing awareness of the need to escape this isolation. They no longer wanted to live in such a restricted environment, knowing only the towering mountains that blocked their view. They longed for an easier way out, one where they wouldn't have to face daily danger, and they wished to access the modern civilization of the outside world. Village meetings became more frequent. The villagers, from elders with experience to young, energetic individuals, gathered to discuss their future. They all agreed that building a new road was not just necessary to improve daily life, but also the key to opening the village's future. Without any external help, the entire village understood that they had to rely on their own strength. Their resolve was solidified, and they made a collective decision to build the new road themselves, replacing the dangerous stone steps that had existed for generations, and creating a path out of the centuries-old isolation. In 1972, after deciding to construct their own road, the people of Guoliang embarked on a challenging project with no assistance from the government, engineers, or modern machinery. Everything depended on the strength of their hands and the iron will of the workers. A team of 13 of the village's strongest men took on the task of chiseling through the sheer cliff, where below lay a bottomless abyss and above, towering rock faces. The cliff of Guoliang wasn't ordinary rock, it was sedimentary rock with a hardness rating of 8.3 on the Mohs hardness scale. This made the construction all the more difficult, especially since the entire process was done manually. It's hard to imagine the challenges those workers faced. Without electricity or machinery, they only had rudimentary tools like iron drills and hammers, along with their strength, sweat, and even tears. The community spirit of Guoliang's people, like the height of their village above sea level, surpassed every challenge they encountered. The construction was grueling, with workers suspended by thin ropes, hanging in midair for hours on end. A single mistake could cost them their lives, yet they persisted, with each hammer blow slowly chipping away at the hard rock. Throughout long days, the workers endured the scorching heat of summer, when the rock's temperature soared, and the biting cold of winter. On stormy days, strong winds and slippery cliffs made the work even more perilous. Still, they never gave up. The solidarity of the entire village was their greatest motivation. Even though not everyone could join the construction, villagers contributed by providing food, water, and necessary materials. Each day, hot meals and words of encouragement along with cheerful stories became the spiritual medicine that helped the workers stay strong during slow progress. The construction journey stretched over 5 long years, which is no short time for a project completed solely with manual labor and basic tools. Each meter of the road finished marked a small victory, a testament to the village's perseverance and effort. Not only did they carve through the mountain, but they also had to manage sharp turns and treacherous spots where the cliff was too steep and the road barely wide enough for one person to pass. Everything was meticulously planned to ensure that vehicles could safely pass in the future. In 1977, after all the hardships, the tunnel road, which is 4,100 feet long, or about 1,250 meters, and over 10 feet wide, which is 3 meters, was officially completed. The day the first trucks drove through the tunnel, carrying goods and supplies, marked the moment Guoliang Village truly entered a new chapter. For the first time, villagers could connect with the outside world without facing the dangers of the steep 720-step path. Today, life for Guoliang's people has changed significantly thanks to the tunnel road. They are no longer as isolated as they once were, and trade has become much easier. Goods can now be transported quickly into the village without relying on human labor as before. Trucks and cars can now travel through the tunnel, connecting the villagers with the outside world. One of the 13 men who helped build the tunnel took advantage of the changes and shifted to small-scale trading, contributing to the local economy's development. One of the greatest impacts of the tunnel has been the growth of tourism. The narrow road with its sharp turns and slippery sections, once a construction challenge, now draws tourists, especially adventure enthusiasts. With about 30 large and small windows along the tunnel, originally made to remove rubble during construction, these openings now serve as ventilation and allow natural light to stream in. From these windows, you can take in the stunning panoramic views of the majestic Taihang Mountains, with an elevation of 5,577 feet above sea level, or about 1,700 meters. Guoliang Village still retains its ancient architecture with stone houses and quiet courtyards. No one could imagine that these homes, built in the styles of the Ming and Qing dynasties, would be located at such a height. This scene, both simple and grand, makes the village an ideal destination for those seeking peace and the experience of living amid nature. Not only domestic tourists, but many international travelers also come to Guoliang to witness this marvel. Increasingly, tourism services are being developed, from guest houses and restaurants to sightseeing activities, providing villagers with a stable income. Traditional handicrafts, local agricultural products, and souvenirs from Guoliang are widely sold, helping to boost the village's economy. The Guoliang Tunnel is not just a transportation project. It stands as a symbol of perseverance and unity, telling the story of a village's journey to break free from centuries of isolation. Though many years have passed, the road still stands strong, carrying with it the story of human strength and the will to overcome all challenges. Do you know of any other roads as remarkable as this one? Leave a comment below to let me and others know. Finally, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you won't miss out on any more fascinating discoveries.